Hello, welcome to episode 13 of The Playground here on the Play by Jellynote Discord server. I'm JC the Beard, our brass section leader here, and I'm joined today by my fabulous co-host Dana, who is the strings section leader. And we also have a special guest who we're going to introduce in just a moment. But Dana, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm very happy that you're back, so I don't have to do this all myself, which was fun, but very difficult. So, very glad to have a co-host again. Such a privilege.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I had to be away for a couple weeks because of real life obligations, but it is
Ah,
fantastic to be back in the swing of things once again. And we've got a great show for you this week. We have a fabulous guest, our first guest here, Jacob, who is a fantastic multi instrumentalist here on the Play platform and is absolutely prolific is not a strong enough word to describe the amount of stuff that he's contributed to the platform. But we've got him here with us today. How are you doing?
I am extremely nervous right now as you have just hyped me up to the skies. Absolutely. With one sentence, you extremely set the plank so high that I'm just don't know what to say.
I'm familiar with the feeling. No, you're great. So basically today we are going to be interviewing Jacob because he plays, I don't even know how many instruments. We're going to find out, I'm sure. And he is, as JC was saying, incredibly prolific on the Play platform. It's my turn to hype you up now. Incredibly prolific on the Play platform. I do not know the total of videos that you have recorded. I think that it is probably at least approaching 200, if not more. I couldn't tell you. But first off, actually, my first question that I want to open us up with is, Jacob, what drew you to the Play platform? What do you specifically, well, before I say that, I should probably say what the Play platform is. I know that there is some people watching who absolutely may not have heard of it, and Play is sort of like musicians karaoke. You log on, you select which instruments you play, and then there is a huge library of sheet music available to you. You could choose to play any of it. You record your part with video and audio, and then other people can jump in, and then you have a fully finished product with a band from people all over the world. So that is what the Play platform is. And Jacob, as I was saying before I interrupted myself, what drew you to this platform?
An advertisement. I was browsing the internet, then I found some platform where I can play with people my instruments, and I thought, yes, that's cool. That could be fun. So I tried it out, and it's been fun so far.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. And so what has kept you coming back to the platform? Because anybody could see an ad, play, two or three tunes and then hop off. But what has kept you coming back for, at this point, hundreds of plays?
Well, it is a really good exercise to keep in shape musical wise, and because the more music you play, the better of a musician you typically get. You probably would agree with me on that.
Absolutely.
Uh, and this platform is quite a good supply. And also, I have been doing multi tracks before and recordings of music and videos and whatnot. Uh, Play platform does many things for me. I don't need to edit the video separately to the audio. I have not really figured that out too much. I don't need to master any music, which I kind of tried to do before, but I don't have to here. I just play the music and I get to play basically any part of the music and just keep in shape that way. And also, other people get to listen to what I make, and that makes me happy.
I love it. Absolutely. I agree with you about the not needing to master or fuss around with the tracks that you've recorded or anything like that, because it can be nice, can be fun, can be a real pain. So I'm with you. I feel ya. JC, I'll hand it over to you now if you have anything that you want to, if you want to take it from here.
Yeah. So I have a lot of questions, but we're going to try and keep this oriented in a progressive forward-moving direction here.
We're gonna do our best.
Because if you've seen these before, you know that Dana and I tend to get off track frequently. But I guess I'll start with this. So, how did you get into playing music? Because I know everybody has such a different walk of life and different things that they've experienced, but I would like to know how you, as an individual, got started in the world of music.
Well, it has got to do with an education of mine. I will just for the context, let me give you a very brief summary of a education system here in Czech Republic where I come from. So after the kindergarten, where a child can go to 4 to 5 years old, they get to go to in a literal translation basic school. It is it would be a equivalent of an American grammar school, if I'm saying this correctly. This takes 9 years to complete in an ideal case. After that, a student can go to college. That's not obligatory anymore. 90% of students still do take, no, not college, I'm sorry, can go to, in a literal translation, middle school in Czech language. It would be an equivalent of a high school in America, probably.
Yeah, that sounds
Uh,
right.
this takes 4 years to complete, and after that follows a college or university where a student can get a bachelor's degree, a master's slash engineering degree, and a doctor's degree. So that's how it works, and then there are separate institutions called basic schools of arts in literal translation again. And that's these institutions, they educate children in music, in paintings, in sculpting things, in dancing, in all sorts of different forms of art. And that's the way most children in here get introduced to music and to arts in general. And that's also how I got introduced to music. I have started studying one of these basic art schools when I was, I believe, 6 years old. And yes, that's how I got introduced to music.
Well, that's fascinating, actually, that you mentioned that because I was wondering how someone can be prolific at so many different instruments as an adult musician. I mean, I don't know exactly how old you are. I imagine we're probably similar in age, but the just seeing, okay, hey, this guy recorded a video. He's really good. Oh, he's playing some other instrument. Oh, there's a third, and then I just keep scrolling, and there's just so many instruments. Now, I play a couple instruments. I'm the brass section leader. I play. I've actually got I've got a French horn right here catching on my phone charger cord. But this is
All right.
an Amati, I believe, from wouldn't have been from the Czech Republic because when this was made, that was still Czechoslovakia. Those two countries combined. I actually have Czech ancestry dating back, I don't know, 4 or 5 generations. But anyway, that's beside the point. It's so awesome to hear that you've been involved with music your whole life because that's something I think a lot of us can relate to. Having started in America, most start in elementary school or middle school. In Europe, I'm not exactly sure how it works over there, but it's wonderful to hear that you've been involved your whole life.
I have another question. What I want to know is, well, again, like JC says, I have many questions. My next one, all right. What is the most unusual instrument that you play? What do you think is the weirdest, most not mainstream, funkiest thing in your collection, would you say?
The most unusual instrument I play is, if we are talking worldwide unusual instrument, that would be Czech bagpipe.
That's
I don't have
awesome!
one at me right now. I mean, I can share you a picture if I find one on a Google of a Czech bagpipe. If you just give me a moment.
Of course, that's fantastic!
That's so fascinating. I didn't even know that bagpipes were really a thing outside of where you would expect to find bagpipes in mainstream culture.
This is bringing me
Yes.
so much joy!
Hold on, I'm sharing
Yeah, take your
screen.
time, it's all good.
Okay.
Yes. And go live. Do you see
Right.
any?
Let's see here. Give it just a second to. Oh wow! No kidding.
Yes. So this is what a Czech bagpipes look like typically. They are, as you can see, quite different from the types of bagpipes you might be more familiar with, coming from Scotland, Ireland, and these regions. Maybe Portugal, they have bagpipes. Turkish people have bagpipes. Basically, all over Europe, somebody plays some type of bagpipes, and these models of bagpipes vary widely. This is the specific model that is most popular in Czech Republic or in the region of Bohemia, which is a historical region in Czech Republic. And are you interested more in this instrument, or I don't want to drag this on too long. I mean, we can talk about
It's
this.
whatever you want to talk about. This is joyous. I love it. I love this. This is fantastic.
Yeah, so I might also tell you that I have, at the age of 16, I have become a leader of a bagpipe band, which is
Amazing.
it's a semi-standardized form of a band here in the region of Pracheň, a region in the southwestern parts of Czechia, which is the place I come from, where I have lived my entire life. These bagpipe bands usually consists of two clarinets, E-flat clarinet, B-flat clarinet, two violins, viola, upright bass, and two bagpipers. These numbers and specific details may vary depending on the specific band, but I have been playing in a band. It's actually the first band I have ever played in since the age of, I think, 11. I've
That's
been playing
awesome.
in one of these bands. They are very popular in the town that's nearest to where I live, and in the town where I have studied music. And also, this instrument is taught how to play there. And yes, so this is probably the most unusual in the terms of the entire world, the most unusual instrument that I have ever. I'm sorry, that I have
Oh,
ever
that's
got
okay.
to hold in my hands
That's
and play.
fantastic.
It's also a very easy instrument conceptual wise.
Interesting.
Wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it plays in it's not a chromatic instrument by far. It plays in the key of E flat,
Okay,
in the
gotcha.
key of E flat, and it only plays 8 notes.
Sure.
However, you can get it's not too hard to get to learn to play 8 notes on an instrument, or to learn you don't have to learn too much of a music theory to be able to handle
Oh,
a
sure.
instrument that plays in one single key, and that only can produce 8 notes. Whenever you get a note that you don't know how to play, you can just say my instrument does not know how to play this. I cannot play this on this instrument. You don't have to say that you don't know what the hell you are seeing on the sheet.
Fantastic. I love it.
That's actually the quite a problem with many people who play only bagpipe, who have been taught to play bagpipe on some of these music schools and really only know these 8 instruments. Key signature needs to nothing to them. They just ignore what's at the beginning of the stuff and just play whatever they think they can play, and what they think they cannot play, they just will not play.
I love that so much.
That's fantastic.
Anyway, this instrument for some reason is extremely popular in here. Up to the point that there are international bagpipe festivals taken in this town.
Awesome. I love that.
Actually,
You're killing
there
me.
has been one international bagpipe festival a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, just before I have joined this platform.
Oh my
And
god.
yes, the bagpipers from all around Europe come to the town to play this horrendous instrument. I mean, it's really a love-hate relationship between me and this instrument. I love it. I also hate it.
Fantastic.
So yes,
I love that you shared this with us.
I don't think I could have hoped for a better answer. Oh my god, I actually...
collect myself.
Oh, yeah, after collecting myself... Oh my god.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you next question here. So we try
sure.
to keep
Let me just.
some sort of semblance of a.
Oh my
show here. I
god.
love that so much. Bagpipes are such a chaotic instrument in every context, and I love it. I love it.
Fantastic.
So let's ask you this. I've personally seen you play at least at this point 15 different instruments on the Play platform. How many can you actually play? Because I'm sure there's more that you're hiding from us. How many different instruments can you actually play?
I have lost count long time ago. I mean, there's no really a conventional way to count these instruments. JC, you will probably know that how do you distinguish a play technique on a flugelhorn, a cornet, and a trumpet? These could be counted as three different instruments. However, they are virtually, in the terms of playing technique, identical to each other. As well as many other brass instruments. And yes, I don't think it's really fruitful to be counting it this way, because in the similar instrument families, many of the skill sets can be translated to a different similar instrument. So I don't really think if I was to come up with some number, it would be by far accurate.
Okay. Well, I'd believe it because, like you're saying, different instruments in the same family. I guess if you want to split hairs, you could say, okay, well, a trumpet and a cornet aren't really the same thing. But let's be honest, you can use either one to play the other's music pretty much anytime. So, I mean, I don't know. I've seen you play brass. I've seen you play strings. I've seen you play woodwinds. I've seen you play guitars. It's like, I don't.
Bagpipes now?
You can play pretty much anything. Yeah, bagpipes. I guess that's a reed instrument, depending on how you want to
Yes,
look
it
at
is.
Oh my god.
It's wonderful.
I have a question that I think relates to that, and that I think is sort of the kind of the elephant in the room, I suppose, in a way. But my question is there's also a couple of questions from chat that I'm going to ask you in a few minutes. And if anybody else has any questions that you'd like to ask Jacob, feel free to put those in the chat as well, and we could ask those for you. But how did you choose to become a multi-instrumentalist in the way that you are, where you play, basically anything, it seems like? Because for me personally, of course, I pretty much exclusively play the violin, and I was just sort of intensely trained in that my whole life, so I wouldn't even know where to begin if I were to pick up a flute or an oboe or reed instruments. If I were to pick up another completely different instrument for my own. So what drove you to start to learn as many instruments as you have?
Well, that's not something I just decided one day that I'm just going to become a multi-instrumentalist. It was very gradual, turning my entire life. If you want to hear the story, I definitely can tell you.
Please
how
do. We'd love
this
to.
accumulate. Are you interested?
Of course we are. That's why you're here.
Okay, great.
Take your
so
time.
I will go chronologically if I
Absolutely.
can come up with a good way to say this.
Yeah.
So as I have said, when I was 6 years old, I started to study this school of art. I have started going to play a musical instrument. Maybe I will let you try and guess the first instrument that I have played.
Well, I already know, so that's not fair, but I don't think that JC knows.
I don't. I have no idea.
Take a guess.
I think I've seen you play mostly brass instruments, and the level of playing that you've achieved on most of those is really impressive. So I would have to imagine that your first was probably maybe something low brass, maybe?
No.
I think we've lost your video, Jacob.
Yes, I'm sorry, my connection.
Oh, that's okay. It'll come back.
Just a moment, and I am back.
All right.
If it's not low brass, am I
No.
in the correct family? Is it still a brass instrument?
Not at all. Not at all.
Really? Wow, that's really impressive because brass is very difficult for a lot of people to pick up from scratch, especially producing tone quality. That's characteristic and good. It usually takes people years to get good at that. Well, I guess at this point you've probably been playing them for years. So, I feel like it would be kind of cliche to just assume something like violin or whatever, but that would have been my next guess.
It's not true.
Really? You're gonna have to tell me then, because like I just.
Yeah, he's out of guesses.
Okay, so my first instrument that I have started on was an accordion.
Really?
Yes.
That's fascinating. You've got to play those sometime in some of these videos.
I will when I get to when there is a free play for a piano. I probably will, or if by a chance I find a play for an accordion, I probably will play an accordion
If I knew
for
how
you
to
as
write
well.
for an accordion, I'd write for it. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
It is there as a label for an instrument, but I have never seen a single play for an accordion.
We
So
haven't made one.
We're working on it. We're adding to the
probably
catalog
good
every week. So if it's not here now, it will be later.
yes, it's very similar to playing a piano or an organ. I have actually most of my studying time of the accordion been playing an accordion like I would be playing an organ. I was playing an organ or a piano sheet music. And that's also how I got into playing a piano because my grandfather has had the because I now have them electric keyboard, and he lended them to me. And as you probably know, the keyboard on a piano is very similar to a keyboard on a type of an accordion. So at this point in my life, I was kind of I was a child. It was nothing special. So anyway, I was playing an accordion and a piano, and when I was what could I have been 10, 11 years old, 11 probably years old I have been when I have switched school. I was still studying the basic school or the elementary school. However, there are some programs for some studying programs for talented kids that are interested in it on some of the middle schools / high schools here. Gymnasiums is what they are called in Czech. However, it is not an accurate translation to English because in English it means something totally different. Anyway, I have been switching to one of these studying programs that takes 8 years, 4 years of which supplements the 4 last years of the elementary schools, and the next 4 years of which are just the high school or the middle school. And at this point, I also joined my first band, which, as I have told you, was this bagpipe band that at the time operated under this art school that I was studying as well. And I was drafted to be an upright bass player there. Someone
Drafted.
just came
Well said.
up with this idea. Because there were no bassists right in the region, so I just started playing bass in the band, and people found it weird that I would be playing an instrument that I have never studied. However, there were no bass teachers in the school, so they got me to learn how to play a cello. So I was then from that time I took actually a 1 year of cello and was left to figure out the bass on my own to play in this band. It was pretty okay. About a year later, I have decided that it would be interesting to also play a violin. I did not want to get into it too much at the time. What really got me to pick up a violin was that one of the violinists in this bagpipe band violinists really like to think they have very difficult instrument.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
As well as this violinist did as well think that violin is very difficult, and she was telling me you will be learning for 2 years only how to hold the instrument. So I just thought to myself, I will show you that it's untrue.
Yes, I love it.
I got a violin, I got a cheap violin, and I've been learning it. And from that time on, I have been playing violin regularly on Christmas and on Easter. So yes, I have learned to play a violin just to spite this violinist that
Amazing.
thought how very hard violin is.
I've learned a lot of things despite other violinists too. I understand. It's yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have been playing these two keyed instruments also as most of the string instruments from that time. That was about the time when I was 13 or the 13, oh, actually 12 or 13 years old.
Happens to me too.
When I have when I have entered a school choir, I've been drafted as a bass singer there. So that's how I started singing on a different level than just shower singing.
Right.
It was probably the next year when we were performing with our bagpipers band on one stage in the House of Culture, in literal translation again, probably not the best term to use. And also other groups that worked under this art school were performing there. And there was also we call it a dance orchestra. In America, it would be called a big band. 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, 5 saxophones, guitar, bass, piano, drums, this sort of thing. And the conductor of this band came to me and said, upright bass is pretty much the same thing as an electric bass. We need a bassist. Do you want to play with us? And of course I said yes, why the hell not? So they gave me an electric bass. And once again thought, it would be so weird for him to play an instrument he had never studied. But then again, there were no people teaching electric bass. So I started studying guitar. So I have been studying.
I love this.
Yes, it was 1 week I was electric guitar and 1 week on a classical guitar. So I got the best of both of the worlds.
That's awesome.
Yes, that's how it has been for some more time. I have been playing guitars, I've been playing strings and keyed instruments,
and it just kind of keeps going from there, I'm sure.
in the year 2016. In the year 2016, there was one of these bagpipe festivals that I was telling you about. It was actually the last year for our school bagpipers. The leader needed to go to retirement because of his old age. But the band did not end there because we have decided that we would just go on as an independent group of musicians. And so we did, and eventually I became a leader of them because for some reason they thought I would be competent enough to do it. I don't think I'm competent enough to do it up to this point. However, it has been working somehow. We are existing still. So yeah, after at the year 2017, when I was 16 years old. That a new chapter again. I was still playing in this big band.
Wait a minute. Did you say that you were 16 years old in 2017?
Yes, I'm.
Oh my god! Oh my!
21 years old now.
I thought you were.
And you know,
I thought you were in
so
your late 20s.
I'm so mad. I'm mad. How dare you?
Yeah, I'll be 31 in 2 weeks. And
How
I'm like, I can only play like 5 instruments. What am I doing?
How dare you? Okay, you can keep going now. You can keep going now. How dare you? Okay.
I'm sorry. What was I saying again?
I'm offended that you know all of the instruments, at least somewhat, and you're all 21 years old. Oh, I'm mad.
You were talking about you had just become the leader of the organization because the leader had to retire.
Yes, that's true. And anyway,
Yeah, please keep going. Please do. I'd love to hear it.
at the year 2017, when I was 16 years old, I was still playing in this big band in the art school, and there was also one trumpet player. He's about 8 years older than me, and he recently became a teacher on this art school as well. He was obviously teaching trumpet, and he inherited a local wind/brass orchestra. And he one day came to me saying he needed a bass voice because the brass industry in this school was not living its best years at the moment. There were not many teachers, and they were not doing a very good job at making brass players. So he inherited a group of about 5 trumpet players and 5 of the tenor horn players that you might have seen me playing. They are actually very common in here, but nothing much more than that. He got a few clarinets from the clarinet teachers, and he said he needed a bass voice. He wanted me to play an electric bass in this ensemble. So I have told to him, we will discuss it later, because this trumpet player also plays in a brass band that my father is a leader of. It's a typical brass music here in Central Europe. And the trumpet players plays there, my father plays there, and I was waiting there for my father to take me home at the time regularly. So I told him we would discuss it at the rehearsal of this band for my father to know about this as well. And when he found out about me entering a wind band on the position of a bass, he told me, no, you will not be playing an electric bass in a wind orchestra. You will learn how to play a tuba. So they gave me a tuba at the beginning of the summer holiday at the year of 2017, and at the end of 2017, I was already playing fanfares on the castle, on the tower of the castle, and it was amazing. At the same time, when I was going from playing this fanfare on a tuba, I was entering a car with my father, and there was a case inside of which there was a French horn, and he told me, we need a French horn player in our band. You will be playing a French horn.
This story just keeps on giving.
It's coming to an end. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm not complaining. Please continue.
I have since then. I have been playing French horn in this group for some time. I have later switched to not switched. I have switched a position. I still obviously keep playing a French horn up to this day. However, the position I have about 2 years later switched to being a flugelhorn player, which is you probably know what it is. It's similar to a trumpet. And right now I am playing a trombone there. And 2 years later, this now a leader of a band, the trumpet player I was talking about, told me that a new brass teacher would be entering the school, and he asked me whether I wanted to study under him for a bit. He was a tuba player, so he probably could show me something about playing a tuba, because I was playing tuba at his orchestra, so it was in his best interest.
Sure.
I said, sure, why not? I will try it. Why not learn from a professional? And that was actually a really funny story. At the year 2019, I have been to my first tuba lesson with my new tuba teacher. And after I have entered the classroom, unpacked my instruments, and warmed up on a almost 3-octave chromatic scale, I then proceeded to practice, quote unquote, your first 5 notes on a tuba. These were the long, easy notes, even with the little fingerings written above them. It was really cute. He obviously expecting to be getting an entirely unexperienced new student. I couldn't help but smile on the concertos I was getting the next lesson. Well,
I love it.
Yeah, JC is gone.
Man, it's just unbelievable to me.
Anyway, so that was this year, and after that a coronavirus came, right?
Of
The
course,
year
unfortunately.
2020. Very sadly, because we've had such a big thing planned with our choir. I have assembled
no.
a band, and it was supposed to be the biggest event in my musical career so far.
Heartbreaking.
In the what's it in English? May of 2020, probably. And we were also supposed to make some CDs and a bunch of things, and it was all gone. It has all gone to ashes because of some government deciding they need to shut everything down.
Heartbreaking.
Anyway, from that on, all of the bands I was a member of got suddenly pretty much cancelled. And I was just sitting at home and eating and attending school. That's also the year I have graduated from my high school / middle school. It was quite ridiculous, the process it was going on. I have entered a university in the year of 2020.
Awesome.
And therefore, after the coronavirus ended, or the theater that was around the coronavirus, that was around 2021 summer, right? That's at least when it ended here. I have then entered an orchestra in Prague, which is a capital of Czech Republic. It was now a symphonic style of orchestra, and it was not too long until the word came out that I play a few instruments, and an oboe player asked me, how am I doing with double-reeded instruments? I told him, I have never held one ever in my life. However, actually, a husband of my oldest cousin was studying a bassoon on a conservatory. Do you know what a conservatory is?
Yes, we got
that
you.
in America as well?
Yes, we do.
So he was studying a bassoon on conservatory, and he did not find a living in the bassoon, so he stopped playing it some time ago. So one time I asked him, hey, this bassoon is hanging on your wall. Would you mind borrowing it to me? He said, I have no problem with that.
So you procured a bassoon.
Then started playing a bassoon, and that's pretty much the end of the road. Then we reached today, and
Outstanding.
I have held a saxophone a few times, a clarinet a few times. You know how it is, and
well,
that's pretty much it. It was not that one day I have decided to become a multi-instrumentalist to answer the first question, the initial question. It was very, very gradual.
That is a better answer.
Up to this day.
That is a better answer than I could have hoped for. That's incredible.
I love that so much.
Oh my god.
So I guess I'm gonna follow up to this incredible life story you've just shown us.
Outstanding.
What instrument do you not play? Because
what instrument do I not
just
play?
Just about everything, yeah.
Well, I don't regularly play saxophones because I was never really needed to play a saxophone, first off.
Yet.
And second, I I have not been yet too attracted to saxophone. Also, both my father and my brother play saxophones, so it's not likely that I will be the one who called to play a saxophone anytime soon. So
Sure.
I have not played saxophones. Also, the woodwinds in general are lacking a bit. I am making up for it recently, as you know. I have actually just for sports started to learn clarinet as well as my new flute. I have borrowed a clarinet from my father, the old one that he was playing when he was young, and also most of the ethnic Asian instruments or Native American instruments or these weird instruments that I'm not really familiar with, that don't really
Oh,
exist
sure.
in my geography. I don't play either.
Sure, that makes sense.
That's
I want
entirely
to.
reasonable.
No kidding. I want to throw it over to chat here. And first off, this one here says, this progression is fantastic. They asked me to play X instrument, but there were no teachers for the instrument. So instead, I learned a similar instrument and just keep on repeating that. And I think that is fantastic. That's a better answer than I could have ever hoped for. Incredible. I want to do a couple of quick questions here because we're going to start wrapping up this segment of the show, as much as I would love to continue for a million years, because this is fascinating. But a couple of quick questions here that I also absolutely share. I also am wondering these questions. First off, from Floor, how do you manage to split your practice time between all of your instruments?
Well, again, as I have said before, most or many of the skill sets can be translated to a different instruments, even between the families. All the
Sure.
instruments read the same notation, right? All the instruments really work in the same physical world, which obeys one set of physical laws. So I really don't need to practice a specific instrument that much as long as I keep practicing music in general, because I
Sure.
keep the concepts in my head and it's not that hard to apply them to a new item than it would be just for a person who would be playing a single instrument. Obviously, he uses this single item to practice his music. I use multiple items to practice my music and to practice a multiple fields of music. So I think it's actually even beneficial because I get to experience the different views of music, the different voices, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, baritone, alto, also the different families, brass, strings, keyed instruments, woodwinds, and all of that. All of these different views can very well apply to improving the skill with a different instrument. Yes, I need to get the technique handled before I can really play an instrument. However, I don't think it's necessary to play an instrument so much, a specific instrument so much. It's mostly beneficial to keep in contact with music.
Sure, that makes a
Have
lot
I
of
answered
sense.
the question?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think you've answered it very well. We have one more question from chat, which I think you've kind of already answered, but I'm sure that more information is always appreciated, right? Which is, did you personally buy all of those instruments?
No, definitely not. I
Because it
don't
sounds
have
like some
that
of them
kind
were
of
loaned
budget.
to you and stuff like that. You're borrowing some,
Yes.
perhaps.
Yes. My first upright bass was definitely borrowed to me. My tuba right now it's borrowed to my horn is borrowed to me. Most of the instruments you see in my place are borrowed instruments. The few that I own are usually a student grade instruments, some cheaper instruments, so not the top quality. But as I always say, it does not matter the instrument; it matters the musician.
Right. Absolutely. Very well said. Well, I think, first of all, thank you so much for sharing all of this. This is a better story than I could have ever expected. So this is just fantastic. And this is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on, and for being so prolific in the play community and everything like that. It's absolutely fantastic. And JC, I'll hand it over to you. Do you have any one final question that you would like to ask before we move on to our next segment?
Yeah, I guess I have so many more questions. I'm sure we'll
I know,
talk
so
in the
many
future
more.
about things. But you've done, I think we estimated earlier, you might have done over 200 individual plays. Which one is your favorite that you've done so far?
I actually have not thought about this at all. I generally go by the rule that I don't have a favorite music. I am a multi-genre instrument by the principle that I am a multi-instrumentalist, so I don't have a favorite music. I'm sorry to
No, not at all.
bring
That's a
this
very
question
good
to you, but
answer. That's a very good answer.
I seriously don't, and I don't want to have a favorite piece of music or favorite genre of music. All of this is art, and all of this is appealing in some way or another.
Yes. I love that answer so much. Because that's really what it's all about, right? It's about having fun and making something with other people. That's what the Play platform is about. That's what I love about it. And I'm glad to know that that's what you love about it, too. So thank
Absolutely.
you so much for sharing all of these stories with us and all of your wonderful play submissions and everything. It's been awesome to have you on the show.
Yes, we're so thrilled to have you on today. Again, this story has been astounding. So I'm absolutely thrilled about it. Thank you for being on here. We so greatly appreciate it. And if anybody who is listening on YouTube right now, if you have any questions that have came to mind that you would like to ask Jacob, or if you would like to see some of his plays on the Play platform, or if you would like to play music with him, that is all totally possible. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the YouTube bio down here. You can join our Discord where he's very active, where we're all very active. If you would like to interact with him more, listen to his music, stuff like that, that is the place to do it. So once again, one final huge, big thank you so much for being on today. So thrilled to have you as our first official guest on Playground. It's been fantastic. And yeah.
One more thing, may I?
Of course, please do.
I feel like I need to say this myself. If you are interested in anything I have said or in anything else regarding absolutely anything on your mind, please reach out to me. I am so happy to talk about this long hours on hours. The culture I live in, the instruments, the music, and absolutely anything.
Well
Please
said.
ask me.
Well said. Absolutely fantastic. So, yes, thank you so much. That was incredibly enjoyable. Oh my gosh. And we'll take it now to our next segment here, which is our 5-minute fact segment, which is where
Oh boy, I love these.
which is where I attempt to give you the history of a composer or, musical instrument or musical history, movement, anything like that, in under 5 minutes. Today, the person that we are going to be talking about, as requested in the Discord by, I don't remember who, I'm so sorry. We are going to be talking about John Cage. All right, 5 minutes on the clock in 3. Gotta warm up. This is a packed one. And I'll probably pick and choose some of these bullet points. All right, 3, 2, 1. John Cage was a pioneer of indeterminacy and electroacoustic music and non-standard use of instruments, and his best-known work is ironically one that has no sound. 4:33 is supposed to be performed by the musician or musician sitting silently for 4 minutes and 33 seconds, and the actual music comes from the incidental songs and murmurings heard around the concert hall during the performance. John Cage entered college with the aim of becoming a writer, but left after 2 years. Supposedly, he once saw all of his classmates reading the same book for an assignment, and instead chose a book by the first author he found whose name began with Z. Receiving the highest grade in the class, he decided that the institution was being run poorly. Somehow convinced his parents that wandering around Europe was a better investment in his writing career than college, and while in Europe, he encountered contemporary classical music for the first time. He eventually began studying composition in New York in 1933, and he supported himself by washing walls at the YWCA. And his routine apparently included just 4 hours of sleep, 4 hours of composition beginning at 4 a.m., and eventually he approached the famous composer Arnold Schoenberg, and after agreeing to dedicate his life to music, he received composition lessons for free. And 40 years later, Cage did not feel the need to keep composing unless he actually, really needed to, but continued to do so because of his promise, which is very, very honest of him. There's so many good things. Oh no. In a lesson, Schoenberg told him that he would always encounter a wall through which he could not pass, intellectually, musically, everything like that. Cage replied that he would devote his life to beating his head against that wall. Apparently, Schoenberg disliked all of his American students and thought lowly of Cage's ability, who wasn't American, as a composer, and he described him instead as a brilliant inventor. And that seems very apt. Cage experimented with strange instruments, including household items, metal sheets, and other sound objects. Cage's early fame came from leading a touring percussion ensemble, as well as his innovation with prepared piano, which means throwing things into your piano and seeing how they sound. And by placing different objects in the piano, it took on an entirely new character. Exactly. Yes. In 1950s, Cage read the I Ching, a Chinese text that uses symbol systems to identify order in chance events. Cage ended up using it as a tool for composition, often crafting incredibly complex pieces. And while he technically used chants in his music, he was actually extremely methodical in his composition, often developing equations and computer algorithms that either mimicked or produced similar results to the I Ching. Believe I'm pronouncing that correctly? I may not be. My apologies. Cage was extremely poor for most of his life and only achieved real fame and success in the 1960s when he was in his 50s. Cage also was heavily involved in early electronic music, particularly in the famous Project for Magnetic Tape. His early works for tape literally involved recording countless different sounds and then individually cutting and splicing together several yards of tape. They also don't really sound like music to most ears, and virtually none of the sounds are recognizable as anything that could be found in the real world. Cage often employed mixed media, particularly dance and theatrical elements, in his music. One famous performance in 1960 involved a performer interrupting Cage's piano performance and pouring a bottle of shampoo on his head. All right, let's do this. Cage also experimented with Fluxus music, which was a movement that used music that would be performed by people completely unfamiliar with the instruments or notation. This process is actually extremely fun, apparently, and I lost my place. Despite the fact that it doesn't always sound good, it is intended to emphasize the artistic process of discovery as opposed to the actual result. Unlike almost every composer ever, Cage took a major departure from his typical compositional style in the 1970s. I believe he was 60 at that point. He began to use fully notated works for traditional instruments, which is to say he started doing normal things. He kept adding his own twists, such as improvisatory passages, however. Cage is recognized today as a huge innovator, but his work is music is often controversial, same thing, and was often unpopular when it premiered. His piece, Atlas Eclipticalis, uses the fascinating method of converting Czech star maps into notes. The audience was unenthusiastic and left about a third of the audience left during mid-performance. We're almost done. Whew. About his view of what constitutes good art, Cage once said that the first question I ask myself when something doesn't seem to be beautiful is, why do I think it's not beautiful? And very shortly you discover that there is no reason. John Cage had a very unorthodox thought process and a great sense of humor, as shown by many of his bizarre quotes, such as, "I have nothing to say, I am saying it, and that is poetry. In the dark, all cats are black. As far as consistency of thought goes, I prefer inconsistency, and I'm trying to be unfamiliar with what I'm doing." 9 seconds left on the clock. Under 5 minutes. History of John Cage. One of the wildest composers in music history that we think back on these days. Whew. So as usual, if you if you enjoyed this, if you thought this was interesting, if you thought anything about this composer was interesting, I highly recommend that you Google it yourself, you immerse yourself into this knowledge, because of course, how can you fit the full history of a person into 5 minutes? So consider this sort of a jumping off point from which you can, further discover the intrigue of John Cage. But that is our 5-minute fact segment for the day. Whew, that one was pretty tiring. And I believe that our next segment, I just got rid of it. Our next segment is going to be, JC is going to take it away, and he's going to show us one of the new pieces that was added. My brain is still going really fast. One of the new pieces that was added to the Play platform this week, and I'm going to go drink a bunch of water while he does that.
All right. Yes, that's correct. So every week we upload a number of new pieces to the platform. Usually there's one each for brass, woodwinds, and strings that are arranged by myself, Dana, and then Juan, who is our woodwind section leader. And then sometimes there's some stuff from the community as well. And people also have the opportunity to suggest things, request things in the Discord server, which, if you're not a member of, encourage you to join. It's a lot of fun, and there's all sorts of interaction you can do there. But one of the things that a lot of people had requested was a piece by Aaron Copland called Fanfare for the Common Man, which is, if you're familiar with it, a very famous brass and percussion piece from around 100 years ago or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here on the, if I can find the right, I have like 800 windows open on my computer.
Take your time.
Should be this one right here. You should be able to see now on my my broadcast here the score on the Jellynote website. This is not the Play website. This is the Jellynote website, mind you, which is, of course, the parent company of the Play platform. And what's cool about this is you can actually deselect individual staffs, so you can isolate specific instruments. So you can see everything here. This, of course, is written for 3 trumpets, 4 horns, 2 trombones, euphonium, tuba, and then a couple of percussion instruments as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a couple of the different themes that are present in here, because for the Play platform, we do have time restraints we want to abide by so everything is accessible and people can have a good time, not spending 9 minutes recording something only to mess up the last note and have to start over. So we try to condense stuff. So what I ended up doing is I took about a 3-minute piece, and I've condensed it down to about a minute and a half. And in Fanfare for the Common Man, there's a lot of motifs that repeat. And there's a lot of stuff that people will instantly recognize when they hear it, right? So the goal when you're arranging something like this is to try and capture the essence of the piece. And this is something we've discussed in our composition seminars, which are a lot of fun. And the next one should be the first week of October.
Yes, very excited.
But what I've done here is I've taken this trumpet line right here, which sounds like this. You've probably heard that before. If you've heard anything by Aaron Copland, it's probably this piece.
I love
Or if you're a
Copland.
child of the 90s, Hoedown, which was used as a commercial for steak in the United States, because I guess we need a commercial for steak. But you have you have this melodic line here, which in the original piece repeats probably 4 or 5 times. But we didn't have time to allow for all of that. So what I did is I actually condensed into all of these into one segment here. So you have the trumpet and the horn. This first staff is first trumpet. The second staff is first horn. It doesn't show the instrument names on the left here, but that's what that is. So this is actually 2 separate things that occur at separate times that I've combined into one, because in the original piece it doesn't really change tonal center that much until you get further along. So you're actually able to stack this and get more of the piece into a shorter period of time. And that way everybody can play and have fun. So these are actually 4th or 5th apart, depending on how you want to do your notation. And we heard it when we listened to it before. But these similar motions right here, and then we go into the middle section. So actually the back half of this arrangement is pretty much verbatim from the original score. We'll bring in the low brass here to kind of demonstrate that. Most of this, the trumpets and the horns have more or less the same parts, except you have horn 1, horn 2 are split. If you know anything about orchestral writing, horn 1 is going to be high, horn 2 is typically going to be low, horn 3 is going to usually double horn 1 or be slightly lower than horn 1, and then horn 4 is going to double horn 2 or be slightly lower than that. So we'll just go ahead and get rid of those so we can see stuff. But you see right here, you have this low brass motif that comes in the original piece is this big, like, triumphant moment that occurs, I don't know, maybe halfway or 2/3 of the way through the piece. So again, you have to condense stuff to get everything to fit into a playable length of time. So that's what I ended up doing here. And then this last push here, where you have this triple forte entrance of the low brass stacked in fifths here is just, oh, I love it so much. I could talk about this for hours. I know we have to move on, but it's a really fun piece. The arrangement is, again, pretty much a faithful transcription condensed for time. And I believe one of our percussionists has actually recorded all of these percussion parts already on Play. Again, it's not a super complicated percussion part. It's orchestral percussion. Most of it's waiting and counting rests. But it's important. And I believe it's Magic Sam who's done that. But he's gone and recorded all these parts. It's waiting for brass participation, so it's on there. It's easy to find. There's a link in the New Music Tuesday channel if you want to go check that out. So I'd encourage you to go take a look at it. and join. I'm going to be doing, probably tomorrow, I might record a couple of these tracks as well. Would love to have you join us for that. It's a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite pieces that I've ever had the opportunity to play, and I'm excited to share it with you. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen on that.
Oh, can we not hear it?
Oh, you want to hear the whole thing?
Yes!
All right, well, hold on. Let me reopen the window here.
You're rusty. You've been away. You've lost your your whatever.
I spent 2 weeks taking pictures of college football, and this is what happens. Let me get this back here. I'll turn all these staffs on so we can see. Staves, I guess, is probably the right
guess.
But I'll go ahead and share this screen again. All right. So this is off of the JellyNote website. So what you hear here is exactly what shows up on the Play platform. This is just a little bit more accessible way for me to show you the score. So we'll go ahead and start right here at measure 1 with the percussion, and then I will scroll around to the different things so you can see how everything looks and sounds. The percussion at the end sounds so funny in the digital playback. But yeah, it's a fun piece. It's high in the low brass range. That's how it was written. I didn't want to change it because it sounds really cool. So if you're a trombone player, I hope you have good high range. If not, third trombone exists. That's why it's there. But yeah, that's that piece. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, JC. And now we're actually going to take it to our next segment, which is where we get to tell you about all of the new beta updates that are coming to Play. We get to tell you here first before you hear them anywhere else. So if you want to hear all of the new updates and the roadmap for the Play platform, this is the place to be. And today we actually have the privilege of the CEO of JellyNote on the call here. We have Floor right here, and she is going to be giving us the updates for what we can expect to see on Play in the next little while. Floor, do we have you here? Ah, hey guys. Fantastic. Hi. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Cool. So basically, maybe for those of you who haven't noticed, because you haven't been on the platform this week, we actually changed how mentions work. So now if you want to add somebody, you can just start typing either their username or their first name, and Play will automatically suggest different people to you. So you don't have, to go to their profile and copy and paste their full username. It's much better now and much easier. So hopefully that facilitates some social interactions. And what we are working today, now and next week, is a few pages that are currently missing on the newly designed Play that you've seen so far. The Explore page will actually change, because today you click on Explore and you have the old Watch page. Songs like Play Now is gonna change as well. So we are we're preparing a lot of new pages that are all gonna come and that are gonna look very nice. And then so next week you will definitely have this search bar.
Yeah!
Happening this week. but it got delayed a bit. But you will have this search bar definitely next week. And following that, you will have the bookmarks. So finally, and I'm the first one who really prays for this feature to come out every day, because there are so many plays that I want to join, and as soon as I close my browser, I forget about it, and I have no idea which ones I want to join. So you will be able to, bookmark them and find them all in one place.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I am incredibly excited for all of these. I can't wait to see them. And thank you so much for being here to tell us about them. Always a privilege to have you guys here on the show and to hear it, straight from the source, kind of. So thank you so much. We absolutely can't wait. And now we're going to go and take it to our last segment. I'm going to hand it back over to JC. We're going to do our blind test. JC, do you want to give us the rules of the blind test before we get going?
Yeah, absolutely. So the blind test, if this is your first time here, is what we like to do at the end of every Playground episode and kind of showcase some of the plays that members of the community have made and have a little bit of fun along the way by having a contest to see who can guess the title of the piece before the piece is over. So what we'll do is we have 5 different excerpts that we've prepared. We've actually made a slight change this week because I'm back on the show for the first time in 2 weeks. I had to do something cool, right? So what we've done is we've actually screen captured from the Play website what the web browser window looks like, and I've overlaid black bars on top of the name of the piece, and then at the end of the piece there's going to be a countdown, and then it will reveal the name of the piece if no one's guessed it by that point. So you get to see what the interface of the website looks like, and it'll also show you kind of who's playing what different parts on the piece. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the first one. Yeah?
What's our prize? What's our new and improved prize?
That's right. We do have a new and improved prize, and that is if you win the... Oh, man, I sound like a carnival announcer. If you win this fabulous prize, if you win the blind test this week, you actually get the right to request any piece of music you want to be put on the Play platform arranged by Dana, myself, Juan, or any of the other people who are working on adding stuff to the catalog.
Whoever is free and has the least work on their plate.
That's how we operate here. But yeah, so it's a lot of fun. So if you have something that's been kicking around in your head, like, man, this would be so much fun to play on Play. There you go. This would be so much fun to play. Then you can say, hey, I want to play this, and it would be cool if you'd have these instruments, or if it was like, I don't know, this piece in the style of something else. You can be creative. You can have fun. If you win, it's your choice to recommend something for us to do, and we will take a look at it for you. But we'll go ahead and get moving because I know this is a little bit longer. We want to make sure we're respectful of your time. We do have 5 pieces. We're going to listen to them and watch them in full so we can appreciate the performance, and then we'll see who guesses first. So feel free to shout out, unmute your mic, or type in the chat. We'll be monitoring both. Dana will be keeping score of who has how many points, and I'll be showing the video, which will be going live very shortly. So we'll go ahead.
One question, may I?
Yes. Yeah.
Do I participate as the host of the episode?
Well, you don't know which ones I picked, so...
That's true. However, I mean, I'm kind of a co-host or something. Some person of importance today, so...
Well, you see,
don't participate.
Our problem is not in that necessarily, but our problem is that you've participated in practically all of these. So...
Well, JC kind of challenged me to do 90 plays this week, so, well, I did. I believe over 80 now, so it is going to happen, probably.
So what our strategy is what we were thinking is we think, well, he's done so many plays, he surely can't remember, he might not remember all of the titles, blah, blah, blah. So remember, the rules are you can't shout out the name until the piece is begun. That's our only thing. Otherwise, you are good to go.
Okay. Yeah. Dana and I are the only people that can't win because obviously
we know the titles and we look at them beforehand. So you're all good because you don't know which ones we picked. So you are perfectly fine. That's the only reason we can't participate.
That, and we get to pick what we do a lot of the time anyway. So
exactly.
How am I going to reward myself with, I get to put my music I wanted. Like, I can just do that.
We get to put the music that we like on there anyways because we make the song polls.
Well, just a reminder, I have won the last week, and I have not got my song up yet, so this price is kind of janky.
We are working on it behind the scenes.
We got it coming up for you. Don't worry. Let's go ahead and get started here. I'll share my VLC window, not my note.
That's what I was gonna ask. When is the live stream?
It's coming. It's coming. All right. You should now be able to see.
Takes
my,
time to
VLC
implement
window
new things.
With
I see now.
the super high-tech black box in Adobe Premiere that will fade out after the song is over.
Look at that.
All the editing.
Can you say production value?
I know this.
You can't say it.
Until we start.
Mr.
No, censor.
All right. We gotta start. We gotta start first, and then we gotta fight over who's gonna be first. All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1.
Accumulate.
I'm gonna give it to both of you guys. I'm gonna give it to both of you.
Man, that clarinetist, he's so good.
I love that piece.
This is a fun piece. I love it so much.
It's so good.
It's fair to like have a clarinet doubling the trumpet part because they're both in B flat.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Same with the bass and the bassoon.
Yeah. So, behold, Accumula Town. No, but this is such a fun arrangement because the stuff disappeared, but I'm the only one that's actually playing the correct instrument on this, but it still sounds great, which is super fun. You have the bassoon covering the trombone part, you have stand-up bass covering the tuba, and you have clarinet covering trumpet. It still sounds great because we're flexible.
I thought I would play a wrong instrument. Since there is a clarinet and upright bass, and so why would I play a trombone, right? Lame.
So that, again, the participants on that are at Stimulating Clarinet, myself, Ian on bass, and then of course Jacob on the bassoon/trombone, trombone.
We'll get there.
Whatever you want to call it. All right.
Bassoon bone.
Bassoon bone.
Well,
Bassoon.
Bassoon.
Well, trombone is actually funny because people have done that by taking a trombone
The
with
trombone
the
bassoon.
bassoon mouthpiece. Okay, that's probably a little bit better one.
I've seen someone playing a bassoon with a mouthpiece. They did it for a Bach chorale project that I
That's
did.
cursed.
That's wild.
That's so cursed.
Let's go ahead and take
Oh,
it to
man.
our next
let's
one
go ahead
here.
and move on to the second one here.
Irish washerwoman.
Irish,
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm giving it to Ariana and Teen. I'm giving it to both of you guys.
I said that as well.
And Jacob.
But you gotta be the first.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Fun fact, well not actually a fun fact, I actually played the Irish washerwoman a few times when I was at a fiddle camp.
I love that one.
It's fun.
And
So much fun.
That's a cool piece. That is that violin guy, Dana Sylvain, who is the CPO of Jelly Note, and fantastic. He plays a bunch of different stuff, but he's doing some hand percussion here, and then that I skipped to the second thing below that because I can't read. And of course, our friend Jacob
Maybe
on 3 different instruments.
maybe I should start out some body percussion soon.
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
fun. It's
Anything you wanna
fun.
play. Yeah, that's a fun traditional melody arrangement. Did Juan do that one or?
I did that.
Look, I've been out for a couple weeks. You gotta cut me some slack. Well, good job. It's a good arrangement.
Thank you. I'm very proud of it.
Let's go ahead and
Didn't
move on
get
to
it.
number
She's a
3.
string player.
All right, here comes number 3.
It's the Russian dance from the Nutcracker.
You got it.
Some type, but it has a different title.
I'll give you Russian Dance. That's a more well-known title.
Another fantastic string orchestra arrangement.
Why,
Well,
thank you.
Really a string orchestra, it's a string quintet as of right now.
Yeah, I arranged them all for quintet anyway.
But we're always welcome to have more strings.
Hmm.
In fact, Dana, you and I are string players ourselves. So is Timza.
Fascinating.
And
String
Floor as
army.
well. Can't forget Floor.
Of course. Trey Pack.
That is the I guess original name for that, and that of course is Dana, Jacob, Samuel 38 and that violin guy on that one. That's a really, really good arrangement. Really great performance.
Thank you. I love that arrangement.
Yeah, going into the last two, what's our score looking like?
We have 2 for Jacob, 2 for Teen, 2 for Ariana, and we have 1 more. Is that right? So the winner.
We have 2 more.
2 more. Never mind. Let's keep going.
All right. Here's the 4th one.
Too many twos.
I know.
Top Gun!
Yep.
That's the wrong number.
Oh, yes, I remember this.
Does anyone know the
remember this.
composer of Top Gun?
I
don't either.
Harold, something.
Harold
Fertile or.
I think that's pretty close.
Find out.
Flora, I'll give you one
Harold.
for that.
I love that we're wearing sunglasses. Like, I just decided to put mine on, and then Jacob does like.
I love when we do that.
phone sideways so I can actually see.
Sunglass vibes.
I'm turning my phone sideways so I can actually see.
I knew that Flora was gonna play first violin, so I decided to play second violin.
Yeah, I still need to do this one.
And I also recognized a clarinetist from a few virtual groups. We'll probably give them the name once this piece is over.
100%.
Right, JC?
You know it. Beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Harold Faltermeyer.
Oh,
It's okay.
Yeah.
Flora, I gave you the point for Harold something something. I gave it to you because Harold, knowing that his name is Harold is pretty good. Because I didn't.
Well, now you know.
Now you know.
That's the power of education.
Going into our final round. Jacob, 2. Teen, 2. Ariana, 3. And Floor, 1. Let's see how this last one
Did you mention the
goes.
members yet?
No, we did not.
There yet. Dana jumped.
I
the
did
gun.
not.
All right. So
I got
these are
excited.
These are the
Dana
play
jumped the
usernames.
top
That might not be
gun.
what they're
What
actually called.
happens if there's a tie, though?
Then we will figure that out when we get there.
I haven't prepared yet. So. All right, so we've got Solène, we've got Bratcat26, Floor, Ariana the violinist, animating tambourine, which I think is one of those default usernames, and I don't think they're playing a tambourine in this one.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Me, myself, and I, Jacob, you already know his name, Samuel38, and Cos.e.groove playing.
By the way, I actually know Bratcat26 because she has participated in a lot of virtual group projects.
Oh, that's cool. Small world. All right, last one.
Last one.
Best one? Last time, best time? All right, here we go.
Fall down.
Oh, what's the name of it?
Fall down!
Got it.
I said it first, obviously, this time.
Got a
Well,
winner.
congratulations, Jacob.
So what do we do? We have a tie.
We are tied now, yes?
Yes, and you've both won one in the past.
Wait, what?
Well, then who's in
Who?
third?
Teen.
Oh, wow.
So,
We'll figure this out.
pretty good.
Yay. Oh, I already know a song that it's more of a band arrangement than a really common song.
Well, then maybe, if you ask Jacob and Ariana very, very nicely, maybe they will forfeit their arrangement this week to you instead, if you ask them very kindly.
I think this song reminds me of one of those video game soundtracks.
Yeah, it is. It's
That's
from a video game.
That's from Undertale.
Yeah. And this is actually a community submission. This is a community score.
Oh, I get it.
I could actually find out.
I like how it has that little circus theme.
Also, Jacob, I have a valid excuse why
Let's keep
can
this after-
have
after the
the
competition.
arrangement because you were the one who helped me with my
What?
little problem with my first valve on my euphonium. So
Well, we'll wheel and deal in just a minute. Well, maybe we'll bargain after after the show, perhaps.
After the show.
But I want to give a quick shout out. Andrew D453 on Discord is the one who wrote and submitted that. So congratulations. Fantastic score. Very beautiful. And JC, who was in that last one?
Yeah, so that one is Dana stimulating clarinet again, and then Jacob on a variety of parts. So that's a fun arrangement.
I don't know if stimulating clarinet is on the Discord server.
Might not be.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But anyway, I think that is our show for today. So thank you, everybody who is in the Discord right now. Thank you for coming out. Thank you to everybody who's watching back on YouTube. We super appreciate the support there as well. And we have, if you are somebody like Jacob, if you play many different instruments, or perhaps if you play some especially unique instruments, there is going to be an announcement, in the next day or two on the Discord that I think you're going to be very excited about. So make sure that you're tuned in on the Discord for fun announcements, fun events, seeing these live recordings. We'd love to do these. And of course, as Flora is saying in the chat right now, thank you so much again for being here, Jacob. That was very, very entertaining. Love to have you. Yeah, I think that's about it. JC, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so once again, thank you so much for being here. If you're here in the Discord, if you're here on YouTube, thank you for watching back. Join the fun of the Discord. We do this live every week at 2-ish p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 8 p.m. Central European Time, I think, and then 11 a.m. on the West Coast of the United States and Canada. So we'd love to have you here. It's a whole lot of fun. Again, thank you, Jacob, for being here, for being a fantastic guest. Thank you, everyone who's joined us. And we hope we'll be making some great music with all of you very soon.